Hey folks, how we doing today? It's me again, Shannon Fox here, the Road to Patriots 2 channel, and I put together several clips here that I wanted to bring to y'all. A lot of it come from over here on Twitter, actually most of it, that involves some numbers that we're getting now that we found out that FEMA is broke. They've been sending all their money to DEI projects and the immigration problem. Cost hundreds of millions of dollars to house all these immigrants, feed them, give them credit cards, and bust them around to wherever they want to drop them off at next, including registering them to vote. All these things cost money, and so the money had to be coming from somewhere. And so I think now, finally, since this has happened with the disasters, and we realize the government just doesn't want to help us, but besides that, they're saying they don't have the money to help us. That is a huge problem considering the funds were allocated for that. So where did the funds go? Like I said, they've been allocated in different spots. Now people on Twitter are on fire today. Actually, the last couple of days about what's going on in Tennessee, North Carolina, in these affected disaster areas, and people are wanting to know where the money went. People are starting to look at the books now, and I think it's just the beginning of this can of worms getting opened up to see how much money they have spent, stole, and reallocated in the name of immigration. It's got to be super expensive to pour people into your country from every direction possible, nonstop for 3+ years. Plus, continue to house them, feed them, and give them free stuff while they're here. I'm sure the bill is astronomical. And so we're just now fixing to start finding out just how much money that was supposed to go to, say, FEMA or any of these other three, or Department of Homeland Services, any of these three-lettered agencies, how much of the money was supposed to go for one particular thing, like disaster relief, and it ends up being reallocated for Democratic agendas. Happens all the time, folks. Since the Democrats basically running the show now, it looks like they've been robbing our agencies for 3.5 years at the least in order to get their socialist agenda pushed through, which is mostly open borders and free stuff for everybody except for Americans. It's a sad situation. We've got wars going on in two countries. We're sending money them directions. I don't agree with either one of those situations. I think they should be able to handle their own problems without us policing them because we can't afford to police ourselves or help our own citizens. But first thing I want to tell you about was this first thing that pissed me off. This is going to be a little bit aggravating, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. There are some great patriots doing what the government is refusing to do, actually helping boots on the ground. But I wanted to tell y'all something that I didn't see over here on Twitter. North Carolina Democratic Governor Roy Cooper still hasn't deployed the 1,000 troops that he promised and approved to assist in the Hurricane Helen's recovery effort. So he's got the troops, been given the okay, hasn't actually sent them out yet. What the fuck is going on? I'm sorry to cuss today, folks, but it has been one of those days reading all of this for the last couple of days about what's going on with the hurricane situation. My heart breaks for these people. Now, if you haven't seen any of the stats yet, folks, it says the federal education expenditures, it looks like what is that, $6 billion, $6.6 billion, $25 billion from federal medical expenditures, federal law enforcement, $23 billion, and federal welfare programs, $11 billion, a total of 66 billion dollars. Wow, that's outrageous, folks. $66 billion of federal expenditures from four different agencies that were reallocated for the illegal immigrants' housing and things of that nature. And that's just the beginning, folks. Don't get me started. Here we go. And go right on down the line. There's several things I want to read to y'all as well. Let's see if I got my glasses in here. Now, this here is absolutely true. What this guy says right here. It says no other country in the world allowed a systematic defrauding of its immigration system, and then privileged the fraudsters, migrants over its own people in the distribution of resources to include emergency funding for natural disasters. The Boston Tea Party happens for much, much less. No doubt about it, folks. Pissing people off. People are now realizing that we, the people, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, the government doesn't give a shit about you, and that's just the facts. And we're starting to see it, especially if you're in a red state. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna get to this next one. Several things I want to read y'all. It says FEMA is distributing based on equity, which means not white Republicans in Appalachia. Now that's just somebody's opinion. That wasn't actually news, but I just thought I'd bring y'all that. Now Kamala Harris said they're going to send out $750 to everybody that has lost their home or been affected by these disasters. They give the illegals $2,500 a piece just to show up. Remember that, folks? Let's get back over here to my profile page before I get sidetracked. I didn't do this in any particular order today, folks. I just went right on down the line with some things that I wanted to repost that just really seemed like they needed to be shared. Now, there's a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. We got Terrence K. Williams. If you don't know who that is, he's a comedian and a huge Trump supporter. He says, "Where's FEMA and Kamala Harris? They are not doing anything to help Americans." He says, "I'm in Asheville, North Carolina, walking door to door, passing out food and supplies while waiting on my cousins with the pancakes." Here we go.
What's going on, everybody? So I am in Asheville, North Carolina. We are walking door to door, checking on people, asking them if they need any supplies, passing out food, supplies.
Good job.
Yeah, we got to stick together. We got to help out our American brothers and sisters, our next door neighbors. We got to take care of home. And America's home. No matter what city you live in, if there's people in another city who needs help, if you are able to help, then please do that. But we are out here helping out.
I do love to see that, folks. Now, while the government is not doing their job, I have seen several situations where we've got people standing up and doing everything they can to help. Now, Anna Paulina Luna said this afternoon $941 million of FEMA funding went to illegals. It's about $1 billion. Yeah, that's about $1 billion, folks. It's unacceptable and should be illegal. This could be used to house Panaya's residents. And Panaya is one of the places that pretty much got wiped off the map. It is a crazy world we're living in today, folks, when the government doesn't help the people with the funds that were allocated to help the people. Well, we done spent the money on some illegals. We need new voters. Now, this is Walmart in Asheville, North Carolina as well. And at this rate, the store will be empty. I'm sure people are getting pissed off not being able to find supplies at this point.
You.
Anyone here for prescriptions only? Prescriptions only.
Look at the shelves.
Well, we didn't make it for the milk. For Wednesday, October 2nd.
This is crazy, folks.
Okay, now it's really like the apocalypse.
So not only is the government not helping, but the main supplies like the grocery stores and stuff that aren't getting restocked, they're getting wiped out. I'm sure every grocery store within 2 or 3 states is in process of being wiped out. Now this here, it's an 11-minute clip. If you want to watch this clip, come over to my channel over here on Twitter and watch it. It's like a 12-minute. Somebody put together a documentary of a lot of the flooding, a lot of the damage and carnage, and tells a little story as well. But like I said, if you haven't come over to my Twitter page yet, it's Devoted Patriots 2, real easy to find right up here, you see. And scroll down on my profile page, on my homepage, to watch this video. Like I said, it's quite long, and I've got several things I wanted to get into, but folks, it was definitely very interesting and eye-opening as to the amount of devastation. So you're welcome to come check it out. It's D Scott at Eclipse This 2003 on my channel. I reposted it. You're definitely welcome to come watch this video. It's definitely shows a lot more than you've ever seen on the news. It says, if you have 5 minutes, please watch this. This right here really opened my eyes, just like a couple other videos I watched
So I
yesterday.
wanted to make this video now, even though I am absolutely covered in mud and exhausted because I have to talk about what happened today.
Let me scroll down a little bit, folks. All right, hold on.
I have to talk about what happened today. So my husband and I went out and with our two amazing kids, and we went to one of the hardest hit areas from all of the flooding and everything in East Tennessee after the hurricane this week. And we were at a friend's house who had a couple of feet of mud in his house. And we showed up this morning not knowing what we were going to do. My husband brought his excavator so he could help move stuff around, and we brought shovels and we got our rubber boots, and we showed up. And the entire day long, God showed up over and over and over again. Every single thing we needed. We had a dozen people shoveling mud out of the house by 10 a.m. When that crew left, we were like, we really should start working on, we got to rip out all this drywall now. He lost the whole back of his house. He had a window bust out. He had trees and logs and debris come through his house. His appliances gone. Drywall ripped out. We had 3 contractors come by. One of them came by with a nail gun and was like, let me secure the house. I think that we can stabilize it, and I think we can save it. So we worked all day. As soon as all the mud was out of the house, we were like, well, I guess tomorrow we'll do the drywall and insulation. And I said, man, it's a shame we can't just do it today. As soon as I said it, I looked down the street, and there's like a dozen women with Isaiah House t-shirts walking down the street. We don't have anything to do right now. How can we help? I said, we were about to tear all the drywall out. Great. Point us in the right direction. People started showing up from all over the Tri-Cities. We had strangers everywhere. We were like, we need a ladder. We had no tools. And this man walks in from Hawkins County, and he was like, y'all need tools. Hold on, I'll be right back. He goes out to his truck and starts bringing in crowbars and hammers and stuff. And we were like, we need a ladder. We can't reach up near the... And somebody said, oh, I saw one. It washed up in the debris out in the front yard. And I said, well, we really need a crowbar too. Oh, there's a crowbar out there too. Okay. Like, are you serious? There were over 100 people who showed up at that house today. Every time we ran out of water, somebody pulled up in a golf cart and said, hey, do you guys need a case?
Apologize,
Water.
folks.
I was standing on the edge of the yard talking to the guy who had lost everything, and I said, man, if we could just have like another excavator or backhoe or something. I didn't get the words out of my mouth. A guy pulled up on a backhoe. Y'all, the outreach and the people who are just showing up, they don't know each other, but they're all wearing Jesus t-shirts, and they all have Jesus love in their eyes and their hearts. And they're just showing up in these neighborhoods and cleaning out stuff and just helping people and loving people. And I've cried the whole day. I've never seen anything like it. We need help. It's bad. Like, East Tennessee and Western North Carolina are bad. And y'all, I just want to encourage you guys, like, don't wait for FEMA or whatever, or you have to go through United Way, whatever. No, don't wait. Put on your rubber boots and get a shovel and get a mop and get your tools and show up. Just show up in these neighborhoods. Because every time I looked up today, there were people just standing there, just showing up. I would look up and there was a new family with their kids, with all of their gear, everything we needed. Point us in the right direction. What do we need to do? It restores my faith in our Christian nation and in our nation on the whole, and just in the goodness of people who really want to get out there and do something. If you want to volunteer, if you want to help, if you want to donate to somebody who really needs help, reach out to me, message me. He did not have flood insurance. He's lost everything, and he's probably not going to have any help at all. This is the house he's lived in his whole entire life. We need drywall. We need insulation. We need somebody to put the back of his house back on. He needs new flooring. He needs appliances. He needs light fixtures. He needs new kitchen cabinets that we had to rip out today. Okay, I got cut off and I don't know what I said last. He needs kitchen cabinets. He needs somebody to seed his yard. He needs equipment, heavy equipment. That whole street, every single person on that street needs help. These people need help. And money is great. Sending money is great. But we need help. We need people showing up that when you look up, they're just standing there with their shovels saying, where do we go?
Whew. That was a very powerful video. This right here, folks, I thought was a great video as well. This guy is doing all that he can to help with the situation at hand. I just love to see it. And I have to turn the volume off for copyright reasons, but if you cannot see behind him, below the wording, there is literally, it looks like about 10 pack mules that he has got leading the caravan up a trail. Probably one of the only ways to get into the Appalachian Mountains with all these trees down, all these mudslides and things going on. But this guy's doing it. I'm just glad to see it. It's sad that we've got to rely on the American people in every disaster because we have a failed presidency right now. And you know what? This reminds me of a statement that I heard too many times. Stolen elections have consequences, and we're seeing it now. No doubt about it, folks. All right, folks, this here was a great clip as well. This guy's a pilot, and his wife is a nurse. And this actually is a couple-day-old video. They were talking about just being run out of the mountains by the local police for trying to help. Crazy video. I'll play you a little bit of it. If you want to watch the full clip of any of these videos, I have them over here on my channel.
Of life and death for the people of North Carolina. So, my name is Jonathan Howard. I'm a member of the Florida State Guard Special Missions Unit, and I'm also up here with Aerial Recovery, a nonprofit. I came up here on Sunday with Aerial Recovery before we even got activated. We flew up here, and then we got activated, which is great. I have my team up here working as well. Here's the problem. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening from the ground, what I'm actually seeing, because what they're telling you is complete bullshit on the news, and these politicians don't have a fucking clue, and they're lying. And I'll say this now, I'll say it at the end of the video. The only thing I need from this video is helicopters. If I have helicopters, I can save lives. Without helicopters, I can't reach these people. It doesn't matter how many chainsaws and trucks I got, I can't get to them. They're 10 miles in, 20 miles, 40 miles in the mountains. There's no way to get with them or even communicate with them. I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some like government helped with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And
So, National Guard can't be on the boots on the ground, helicopters in the air, actually there on time to rescue people. So we have our civilians doing it with private helicopters, fuel out of their own pocket, out of their own time and heart and compassion to try to do something to help. As soon as somebody gets wind of this clip of them saving this 11-day-old baby, left-wing media steals the story, says it was the National Guard that did it without any kind of confirmation. They probably knew it wasn't the National Guard. So now they're covering for the National Guard's ass with the left-wing media. Already, they've been complacent with everything else. I'm sure they're going to be complacent about FEMA and the National Guard's response as well, and these governors' lack of nuts when it comes to doing the right thing, getting these funds allocated, getting these people moving, getting these troops and these helicopters in the air. Shouldn't be up to this guy to save Americans when we pay through our taxes for organizations like FEMA that is supposed to be in the air right now with the National Guard, Care Flight, whatever they've got, military, any kind of military equipment, and using it to save Americans' lives. They're on standby because we're at war with Ukraine and Israel's having issues today. That's a crazy ass answer as to why you can't save people that are still stuck on the roof days later. It's a crying shame, folks.
The old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too because she had 1 day left of oxygen. No one was going to go get them. I will tell you, when we go up in the air, I probably see 40 civilian helicopters, and I might see 2 Blackhawks, National Guard, military, whatever they are. That's
40.
it. No one's out there doing rescues. I have my entire team up here from Florida right now, and they have no ability to go rescue these people other than what they can drive to. And the people that are in dire need, they're out in the mountains. They are completely cut off. Now, I will say, I spoke to my congresswoman down in Florida, and she's a badass, and she made a bunch of phone calls, and now we got 2 contracted 60s coming up here tomorrow, which is great. I love that, but like, I still don't understand why we don't have more helicopters. Like, we'll get a lot of work done with that, but there's no military. There's no one's doing nothing. It blows my mind. And they're not even allowing people to see what's really going on. One of our friends yesterday, they were actually escorting CNN down at Lake Lure, and they wouldn't even let CNN, the sheriff department would not let them go videotape the bad areas, how destructive it is. I don't know why they don't want to show you all that, but I mean, it is bad.
I'll tell you why they don't want to show you is because they're not doing their job, and the more the public sees how bad it is, the more it looks like egg on the face of the government for not doing their job. Now, General Flynn tweeted out earlier, says, I don't push things like this. This guy tweeted him a question about rescue and recovery teams in the mountains of North Carolina, currently being based out of Hickory Airfield, conducting flight operations and rescue recovery operations. They normally get tasked by FEMA and have support. This guy is asking General Flynn, the disaster response and FEMA working together at this point. And General Flynn at this point says, I can't confirm nor deny it because I don't see it happening. I don't see it a boots on the ground happening. It's pretty sad, folks. I just hate to see it. Let me read you the whole article here. No tasking to date, not surprising. They are asking for support for their cause, somebody paying for their fuel, medical
And it's the tail
supplies.
numbers. Those are aircraft right there. So these aircraft are probably not out. And when they send the aircraft, they'll put them right there.
And General Flynn says, thank you to Mark Robinson of North Carolina. We appreciate your leadership. Elon Musk, thank you for Starlink support. Thank you, at Real Donald Trump, for your awesome awareness to the biblical disaster, including starting the GoFundMe account, which has got $4 or $5 million in it as of today. Says you can also provide financial support to the following site. Please help them. Every single penny helps. GiveSendGo.com. Here on General Flynn's webpage as well. I wish I was in the financial shape to help. I really do. Now here, we're going to get into the sticky of what the hell is really going on a little more. It says the diverting of funds from FEMA for resettlement of illegal aliens was in a funding bill passed by Congress earlier this year. Resettlement of funds for the resettlement of the illegals. That's basically what it is, diverting the money. They deferred it to as humanitarian aid to assist with border crisis. To recall, thinking at the time it was a humanitarian crisis of the administration making, and those funds would be needed when hurricane season set in. Well, here we are. Congress is useless. I wonder how many agencies have been fleeced in order to pay for all these illegal importation to this country. I see 4 or 5 that we know of directly, but I'm sure every dang agency out there has had money dripped out the back door. Every spending package they spend has had money reallocated for DEI and immigration. It's crazy. Enough to piss you off. Now, here's another testimonial from somebody living in, I believe it's North Carolina.
Because we have no, well, you're going to have to just excuse my appearance because we have no power. We have no running water. But I'm just so pissed off that I've got to make this clear. We got a notification from FEMA. I'm guessing that's FEMA for Tennessee. I'm not exactly sure. I think it's supposed to be the disaster relief people. But they were like, do not donate your time. We don't want you to donate time unless we ask for you. And we don't want you to donate stuff to other people. You need to just donate money and stuff to us and get your instructions from us and listen to us. What? And then they said yesterday, we don't go into areas that the roads are not easily accessible. What? You are the disaster relief people. Like, that is your job, to go into the areas that are hit by disaster and provide relief. Not to just go to the easy area and sit and wait for the people that are in the disaster area to be able to come to you. The roads that we do have were cleared by the locals, and you have to have trucks and stuff to be able to get through there. Like, it's just beyond me. So, and you have us all messed up. If you think you're going to come here and bark orders at us and then expect the people just to give you the money and us trust that you're going to try to take care of us when you don't go into areas that are not easily accessible. What?
I'll be honest with you folks, there's going to be a lot of scams that go on, a lot of mail out pamphlets, online stuff, donation sites. If you don't trust the site, don't send your money to the site. Some of these people that are actually boots on the ground on Twitter, I would send my money through them or through the Trump GoFundMe account. Maybe Samaritan's Purse, but not too many of these NGOs do I trust enough to send them cash. I would definitely do a little bit of research. What they really need is actual hands on the ground help. They need people with shovels and assholes and elbows, as they call it. Somebody that is willing to get in and work and help clear the debris, dig these people out, whatever is necessary. Says everything you own is completely destroyed, but here's $750. Go away and stop complaining. That's the Kamala Harris meme of the day. Went viral this morning. There were several of them similar. Now we've got Corey Mills in North Carolina speaking over here on the Fox News about
Corey
the
Mills.
situation.
He's been on the ground there for days, helping to deliver much-needed supplies to those hard-hit areas and evacuate some who are stranded. As you remember, he helped rescue Americans from war zones in Afghanistan, also Israel, and in Haiti. Corey Mills, Congressman, welcome. Thank you for what you do for people in these situations. Tell us what you're observing there and what we all need to understand.
Look, the federal government quickly or getting the necessary needs in here that the people were wanting. And so we've delivered now about 5 tons worth of supplies, about roughly 10,000. We've actually transported about 12,000 pounds between the 2 helicopters that we brought in. Much of which is the only place that you can get in is by rotary wing helicopters. So we've gone into Broad River, South Toe. We've gone into Banner Elk, Asheville, Burnsville. We've gone into Holler. We've continued to try and go to at least 5 or 6 different locations, either conducting search and rescue operations to drop SAR, to do health and welfare checks on family members who's gone missing, or even just doing distribution for Starlink systems so that we can get our missing persons report down. Because a lot of this, people just haven't heard from their family members for 2 and 3 and 4 days. We were able to successfully evacuate someone from Bailey, North Carolina to Johnsonville yesterday. 83-year-old man, yesterday was his birthday, was showing signs of heart attack or hypertension. So we were able to medevac him and get him out, but also delivering insulin, oxygen bottles. A lot of people, it's not just food and water and non-perishables, but it's medications that they're short on. So trying to fulfill those needs until the federal government can get up and do what they need to be doing.
So, Congressman, we got cut off a little bit at the top. Are you working with your private organization that you're part of? And what do you see in terms of federal help happening? Tell us the difference.
So that's really where the missing piece is the federal piece. And again, let's go ahead and point out the obvious, which is that FEMA had utilized a large majority of the personnel who should be here taking care of this to be replaced or repurposed, if you will, for immigration resettlement when we need to be focusing on Americans and what's going on, whether it be in Maui, Palestine, Ohio, Florida, North Carolina, or Tennessee. But I'm actually working with great organizations like Mercury One, charity for Glenn Beck, Universal Air, as well as for Sentinel Foundation and so many others. This is a group project where Americans are coming together to answer the call for Americans when the federal government fails to act.
So we're hearing one of the most horrifying details is that it could be hundreds of people who are still missing, and we don't know if they are dead or alive or if they're hanging on to a boulder like that woman just described, which was so heartbreaking. What is your sense? Do you have any sense of that and that number?
Well, again, we've got about an estimate of around it's kind of a non-confirmed report of roughly 1,000 to 1,200 people still being listed as a missing person. A lot of that, I will tell you, as we get
1,000 plus people still missing. Now let's get a little closer to the end. I want to hear you talk about the government response that we have so far.
As former veterans who want to continue to help people because that's what they like to do. And they want to be where they are needed. And it's an extraordinary story of American heroism. Of course, you know, he doesn't want to take credit for that. But I do think that I just want people to understand the selflessness. And I have covered these hurricanes and difficult situations in the past. I'm always amazed by the people who show up with, you know, huge campers and just make barbecue for everybody on this who's there. You know, the first responders, just people who literally leave their lives and go to where they are needed and help out. And
Corey Mills says in North Carolina is trying to rescue we are here trying to rescue Americans. He claims FEMA is largely missing in action due to the fact what we're finding out now is because they diverted resources for other things like immigration. Now I got a couple more stories of some people that have Elon Musk shared this out. It says please share and tag hey at Elon Musk. Can you make Starlink free for the next 30 days in the disaster zone? It's really slowing us down setting these up, and I'm putting them all on my personal gift cards. Won't seem to process. So somebody's went in and bought a bunch of these Starlinks, is trying to show up and pass them out and set them up with the subscription with his PayPal card. He's asking Elon Musk if he can just give everybody in the affected states free Starlink for a couple of months. Elon Musk responds, "We are making the system updates to allow Starlink in the affected areas to work regardless of payment." I'd like to hear that. That's great news. Good job, Elon. There's more to life than money, folks. Now, we got a few seconds of what Kamala had to say.
And the federal relief and assistance that we have been providing has included FEMA providing $750 for folks who need immediate needs being met, and the federal relief and assistance.
So you lose your house and they're going to give you $750. That'll pay for your motel for a week? That is not good enough. Now, there is a lot of speculation about people saying that this is happening in Appalachia mountains with the lack of rescue and stuff because of the fact that it is a huge lithium mine there, and they would rather all the people that lived up in the mountains to move out, kind of like what happened in Maui. Want people to move for option to get a hold of the land. Now, I'm not going to get into that. That is a little bit of speculation, a little bit of conspiracy, and probably a whole lot of truth to it. But until I know more on the subject, I'm going to leave that one alone. These videos are riling enough without me speculating on what the sinister plan is of the government. It probably just doesn't have the money. It may have to do with the fact that maybe they have plans for them lithium mines underneath all that flooded, all that flooding that's going on in the mountains. Now, this girl right here, pretty short little video clip. This girl said it all.
When we heard that Biden was just going to be, flying around, it kind of just made us feel like, as our president, where is that like guidance where you're supposed to be kind of here helping us with this, and just almost like it's like almost a sense of abandonment, and like I said, it's mainly just the community coming together and helping each other out with all of this. When we heard that Biden,
it's almost like abandonment. Ma'am, it is abandonment. Now, this here I thought was a great video clip as well. And like the guy said earlier, 40 helicopters he's seen, private helicopters. Oh, I apologize. Let me scroll back up.
Firefighting. The river. I do.
3 minutes away, Sidham spotted a group of rescuers just down the river. He landed and found someone in charge.
Told him my background experience, law enforcement, firefighting, pilot. He immediately started helping with coordination. He gave me radio frequencies to coordinate with them on, set up a landing area for me to come back with the other victim. And in the middle of the whole conversation and then blocking the road off, I was greeted by the at that time I didn't know, but Lake Lure fire chief or assistant chief maybe, and he shut down the whole operation. So at that point I felt like the conversation wasn't going any further, and again he asked me to leave, and I said, hey, I have no problem getting out of your area. If that's what you want us to do, we'll leave, no issue. At that point I asked him, what was the reason I had to leave them there, and he said, again, you're interfering with my operation. I just need you to get out of the area. I said, sir, I don't know where you were trained at, but I know how my training is, and I'm not going to leave personnel behind. I'm going back to get my co-pilot. He said, if you turn around and go back up the mountain, you're going to be arrested. I said, well, sir, I'm going back to get my co-pilot. I don't know what to tell you. And he said, I'm letting you know. And at that point, he waved for 2 law enforcement officers to come over and told me that again, if I go back up the mountain, I would be arrested.
He flew the 3-minute trip back, picked up his son, and left the woman's husband behind.
Sure, he was flooded with emotions and trying to rescue other people, and I just felt that it was best at the time to leave. So I did follow his instructions, and I had a conversation with the female victim before I left, apologizing and explaining. She was standing there. She heard the whole conversation. And they were both very, very surprised, very upset. The husband, as I was leaving off of the side of the mountain, at that point, separated from his wife, he was upset. I can only imagine.
Sidham and his nearly 1,400 flight hours turned his chopper around and headed back to South Carolina, passing people waving for help along the way.
As I was actually...
What in the fuck? I hate to even hear this. Oh, this pisses me off. So they didn't want people in there helping with the operation because they actually had helicopter access and was willing to go right now. We got to wait for y'all to get y'all shit together, decide if y'all are going to go help those people. This guy was stopped from helping. Oh, it breaks my heart, pisses me off. I don't know what to say about it other than, oh, somebody needs to go to jail for this shit. People deserve better. We all deserve better. I don't know who that fire chief was, but I think somebody needs to put him in check one way or another. Let him know this is not the way we need to do this. That's what I got for you today, folks. A little disheartening. A lot of good stories. $750 is not enough. But we got people bringing in Starlink. We got people on pack mules. We got people with helicopters. And we got FEMA that'll be there eventually. I'm glad to see we do have a lot of first responder types, emergency rescue, hurricane disaster relief response that are not government affiliated but state affiliated. And that is, for the most part, with the civilians that just have the access to help, has been the full rescue effort at this point. That's all I got for you today, folks. Hope everybody enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and share. Devoted Patriots, over and out.